Hi guys, welcome back to another tree felling tutorial. Here we've got another burnt out tree, so the center is burnt out and hollow. So we'll just be going through the step-by-step process of how we felled this one and why we used the strategy that we did. This was on an advanced felling course in Gippsland, Victoria in Australia. So we're dealing with eucalypts down here. And just starting with, we're going to be clearing the area. So we've already cleared the area with the harvester. It's just come through and cleared all the understory. The trees are being removed because they're hazardous or dangerous for the people that are going to be working in the area, doing back burning. As you can see here, I'm just cutting away anything that might be in my way. There has been deaths related to people tripping and falling, and not being, being able to get in the way, out of the way, when something's either fallen out of the tree or if the tree's fallen on them and they've tripped over and haven't made it. So clearing the area is important and making sure that your exits are clear. Now when you're exiting the site or the tree, you want to be exiting in a backwards direction on a 45-degree angle. The reason for that is if the tree is falling forward, as it falls forward, if you haven't cut it correctly or if something lets go, or if there's an obstacle in front of it, the tree can shoot directly backwards, straight into you. And that can cause death or injury, and has done. The reason you don't want to exit to the side is because trees can twist. And even if they have fallen in the direction that you want to, depending on the terrain or how you've cut it, when they hit the ground, the butt can bounce up and then bounce to the side or bounce backwards. So if you're there in that proximity to the side, it can land straight on top of you and crush you, which is why you want to be exiting from a 45-degree angle. If you've cut it correctly, then the 45-degree angle is the safest. So we're starting here with a notch cut or face cut. I call it a scarf. And we're scarfing it in the direction of the lean, which means that we're just cutting it, or we want it to fall in the direction that it's already leaning. The reason for that being is all of the weight is already heading in that direction. So we don't want to fight gravity if we don't have to. We're in the forest, there's nothing to damage there. We're aiming it in between two trees. So we've got a clear opportunity. So in the safest scenario, you would fall it in the direction that it's already leaning. As you can see here, my chainsaw, it's a Stihl 462. It's got a shorter bar. I think it's a 20-inch bar. And when you do have a smaller bar, I like to start on the right-hand side of the tree, as I have in this video. You've got the guidelines on the chainsaw, which allow you to set up the direction of the cuts. So if you follow the guide bars on the chainsaw, you can actually line up all your cuts just by choosing a target that's sort of in the distance. You probably want it, probably 30 or 50 meters away, something that you can aim those lines at. And then that way, no matter where you are cutting from, all of your lines can still match up to that target. If you choose a target that's too close, the lines won't match up and all of your cuts will be different. I'll try and explain this a bit more in another video. But for now, if you can understand that sort of concept, that will help you understand why we've chosen to start from the right hand side, and also the way that this chainsaw is designed, it's designed for right-handed use, and it just means that you can use the bottom of the bar. And the importance of lining up your cuts is shown here. As you can see, there's not much holding that front end up. And because I've cut a little bit too much on the top cut, now I have to fix up the bottom cut and take out a little bit more timber. Every time you take out a bit more timber, there's a little bit timber holding, obviously. So you don't always have enough there to make huge adjustments, which is why it's important to get the cut right the first time. So every time I cut a little bit more out, there's a little bit less structure holding it in place. So on that side, you can see that I've left a little bit of holding wood, and that holding wood goes all the way over to this side. I didn't want to cut the whole thing out, because then that whole front end is holding no weight, and the tree is relying on the entire back section to hold the whole thing up, and that's when it can snap. So we just want to have a little bit of weight left there, so that front end can support itself. Great, so I think we're happy with that. So you can see we're starting from the left-hand side.
With this bit, do I want to leave some hinge on this side or cut all the way through? All the way? Yeah.
So I was asking that, do I leave some hinge on this left side or do I cut all the way through? We agreed to cut all the way through. The reason we're starting from the left side is because the tree is leaning to the left. And what that means for us is if we start cutting on the left hand side, it means we'll finish the cut on the right hand side. Obviously the saw's not big enough to do it in one go, so we have to do it in two. So the two back cuts are quarter cuts. So we're starting with the back left quarter. And so if something does let go early or unexpectedly, ideally, theoretically, it's going to shift to the left or in the direction where all of the weight is leaning. And that means if something does let go, if we finish on the right hand side, then and it falls to the left, then it's falling away from us, not towards us or on top of us. So I'm just cutting all the way up to the middle. And a little bit past. Nice puff of charcoal there. So I've cut over halfway, and that means when I do my second quarter cut, it overlaps. We've got some holding wood there, so this back right quarter is the only thing left holding this tree up. Instead of just finishing the cut, I'm doing a bore cut or plunge cut into the center of it. And just removing all that holding wood. Just clean all that holding wood out, remove all that timber, and then I'll move the saw forward cutting the rest out. Just watching the tree, seeing how it reacts. Great. So now we've just got that last section at the back that's holding the tree, and that will be my back release. So that strap, I'll release that now. You'll notice I'm cutting underneath the original cut. The reason for that is as the tree lifts from the back, it doesn't take my saw with it.
That was good.
That bit's still held on there.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave a hinge here and be fucking smacking a wedge. It's gonna fall over this time.
Yeah.
Just laughing there because the first tree that we had was on a similar leaning forward. Everything was showing us that we would fall in that direction. We had to wedge it over in the end. Great. So that's the end of the tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be putting up more content for you. If you're interested in tree felling or tree climbing, anything, any machinery or equipment, or interested in tree knowledge, biology, that kind of thing, I've got a community called ARB School on school.com. It's free to join and the courses will be free. There's a forum there. You can speak to people from around the world. So yeah, join up and get involved. Thanks for watching.